So it's not great. I didn't want to. Whoa, my hair needs some product. Um, yeah, I'll be right back. So I had a super dream this morning, and I don't know. I need to kind of recalibrate what's what. Because it seems like there's wishes, dreams, words of knowledge, prophecies, and then God speaking directly. I guess this was like a word of knowledge. So I had this dream that Naruto had his left leg cut off beneath the knee. And I kind of identify with Naruto a lot. And it could have to do with like the hard time I'm having like walking, right? Because God is still trying to increase my skill before I get launched onto a public platform. So I was traveling. At one point, I'm Naruto, and at one point, I'm like the person talking to Naruto. I'm like this voice in the back of my own head. It was like, you have to fight this. The connotation was you have to fight this, only you can do it. And I was looking up on this like snowy mountain, and it was something kind of the size in between King Kong and Godzilla. So it was just massive monster, right? And it was like a combination monkey, abominable snowman, yeti. It was like that sort of monster. And it had its sword in the ground. And it was, I've seen it in like a video game before. It was like the blade was curved at the top. It kind of beveled out to 2 points, beveled back in. It went down, and it was like, maybe 50 or 100 stories tall. It was a really big weapon. I remember punching it to hearing the sound it made, which I think, if I'm as accurate as I think I am, I was testing its metal, kind of figuring out what it was. Because I think it kind of had like not like a guillotine, but you'll see them in movies where like this slicer blade comes down and then eventually like terminates a subject. And so I'm running, and there's this hallway into the mountain, and the hallway's like, I don't know, 30 stories tall. It's like a really big hallway. And it's a square, and there's around the edges are staircases going this way, going like forward. And so I feel that was like my gift of discernment, how I can see through things even though they're like labyrinths. I can see through the labyrinths. And I know which end is up. And I'm like, okay. And I kept moving. And then it looked very like Chinese, very oriental. The dream was very colorful, very defined. And I jumped up, and then I grabbed this woman, and I remember I grabbed her from behind, like locking her into this enchanted embrace, which I think is maybe like the old ways of living spiritually without Jesus. And so everything kind of turned pink with like a perfumey color. And then for like 8 seconds, she did nothing and then shook me off. And then I had to go up and fight the monster. And I understood it wasn't like I was fighting to kill the monster. I was fighting to defeat the monster, which is a big difference. When you're fighting to defeat something, it's more about draining its stamina until it's done. But yeah, it looked very oriental and it was very colorful and just very colorful. It reminded me of like is it Wukong, the Monkey King? The story that Dragon Ball Z is based off of or inspired off of. And so, I mean, that'd be kind of cool if I'm caught in a Dragon Ball Z kind of like story. Anyways, or Wukong, the Monkey King. So then I get a flash, which is kind of like I fall asleep again, right? Because I'll wake up and record the dream, and I kind of like nod for a second, and this dream is loaded into my mind, and I'm seeing like the sun, but also kind of the moon, but it was just like it was a lot of red, and it was in the distance, and it was like this post-apocalyptic thing. It was very red, and I remember that a lot of the prophets are saying wormwood is coming in 2030 if we don't get abortion under control, because we're basically just murdering God's kids by the millions. I mean, I've heard we abort 1 million babies a year, and to give you context, I think 60,000 men died in Vietnam. So to give a kind of perspective on that. So I think the monster is abortion, because as much as I'm taking it down in America, I'm gonna have to take it down in China, and I'm gonna do that by using my supernatural gifts to help China get resources, and hope that that'll open a negotiation to do things in a good, peaceful manner. Oh yeah, and then so that's kind of what the drawing was. I just wanted to sketch it out, and then there was this like building on like an area in the middle of a circular waterway, like I showed in the beginning, and then there was these great bridges that went across. And I think because Tomi Ariyomi said we needed to get right with AI, because AI is necessary for the next technological revolution, and technological revolutions are very important for history. If we can turn away from abortion and get AI where we need to be, I believe we're going to start doing we're going to do space flight to other planets. Because from what I've read in the Bible, it looks like we're not going to get faster than light, which makes sense because a baseball moving at the speed of light would break most of Earth. There's not much power in the speed of light. Like a nuclear bomb is changing matter to energy because there's that much in the speed of light. But in a lot of like the rapture dreams in the Bible, it looks like there's like opening of portals, which would make sense. And it looks like we feed them off the sun, so new power. So yeah, that'd be really good because that would save us a lot of resources. And now I have a phone call. So one of the weird things about being me is my gift of discernment is really, really strong. And when I meet people and I'm going to give them the gift of discernment and the gift of knowledge, they'll start manifesting it before I gave it to them, because since they have it in the future, if they're going to do things with the power of God, we'll start to see echoes of that backwards in time. And now I need to say that heaven doesn't take away your control. So if anyone decides they don't want gifts or they don't want this path, that's fine. They all have the choice. If I'm being completely honest, my discernment is succinct enough that it's off maybe 1% of the time. And I'm not trying to be arrogant. I'm just, if you know something is going to work 99% of the time, you can build on it. So if I see with my discernment, somebody's going to happily accept it, and then I perceive that they're going to do some ministry work, I can then plan that ministry work. So, yeah, we'll just leave it at that because it just gets more confusing. I like, what's her name? Shae. I hope I'm saying that right. I don't want to go back and look up her last name. I think she has class and sophistication. She doesn't cuss a lot. And so I was thinking about approaching her in a few years and seeing if she wants to do kids content, because I want to do a lot of, it doesn't necessarily have to be Jesus focused. It can be like, Mr. Rogers, Muppets type stuff. It can be like spiritually neutral or spiritual, depending on what she wants to host. But I thought it'd be good to have her host some kids content after giving her some of the gifts of the Holy Spirit. She seems to be the type where if she's open to the idea of God, she will accept gifts, because, who doesn't want superpowers? And the thing about gifts is you can then pass them on to your children. So I'm watching that video and I'm like, all of a sudden my discernment starts kicking in, and I'm like, wait, is this little kid getting visions about herself when she's a future prophet or future miracle worker? Because that would make sense. The moment I plan to give it to Eden, she would probably give it to herself or to her daughter in the future. Or barring that, like if someone's kid asked me, hey, can I have the gifts like my parents do? I would say, no, your parents are in charge until you turn 18. And then you can ask what you will. So we'll see together. We'll see how strong my gift of discernment is, and we'll see how accurate. But this is what I'm perceiving at the moment. I guess we'll find out. But I wanted to put it out there because what good is all this miracle work if I don't own it? I have to say it before. So if I'm a fraud, we know I'm a fraud, and I'll go back to doing art, or I'll just focus on. I've healed so many people at work that they call me Josh the Healer now, which is pretty awesome. But yeah, I just wanted to share. I also had a dream where I was thinking about making a movie on healing 1,000 people. And in my dream, I kind of heard, you won't get there in your little car. And then I saw a bunch of motorcycles riding off-road. And so I was thinking of recruiting some people who ride motorcycles to ride around, people that already kind of have YouTube channels, to ride around and to heal people. So I wonder if that'll work. So I just wanted to declare that that's one of my projects I'm working on right now.
Dream that she had last night. My very sick child woke up at like 1 a.m. and screamed that she had to go poop. We sit on the toilet And she starts saying the weirdest. She gets on the potty and she starts telling me things like, Julie's not here. Julie is our neighbor. And then she just starts listing people who are not here. Dolly's not here. Yaya's not here. Violet's not here. Daisy's not here. These are all her cousins and her grandmas. And then she starts telling me, I do have legs. Mommy has legs. Mommy have eyebrows. And she said, Mommy don't have teeth. And I was like, I have teeth? And she goes, Mommy don't have teeth. And I was like, do I not have teeth?
Griffith Observatory, it's a half dome, and she calls it the ball on the hilltop. And she asked in the middle of the night if she could go see it. And I said, no, can't see it right now. Gotta go to sleep. And so then she just kept saying, can't see ball on the hilltop, gotta sleep. Wake up, see it. It was just a loop. It was almost demonic. It was really weird.
Oh.
I wanted to add this because God really likes his word being shared. The book of Acts, chapter 2, verse 17. In the last days, God says, I will pour out my spirit on all people. Excuse me. Your sons and daughters will prophesy, and your young men will see visions, and your old men will dream dreams. So the gifts are going to definitely move, and it looks like I get to be a part of that, which is really exciting. I'm being falsely humble. It looks like through my efforts and communication with God, I realized that if I run a church, I can give the gifts out. It looks like anybody who runs the church can get them from God and give them out. So that is exciting. I'm not reactive when it comes to Christianity. I am proactive. I don't wait for orders. I go out and do things and ask God if he wants to change anything about what is transpiring or, completely move me. If God wants me to do something, by all means, I'll check in with him or he's willing to tell me. But Christianity has been way too reactive over the years, and that pisses me off. I think justice should be proactive, not reactive. But yeah.